Welcome back. Let's look at the realities of operating as an exporter in Nigeria with the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Starling Global and Ideal Limited, Mr. Adeyemi Adeniji. Mr. Adeniji, good morning and thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
So do share with us your experience. We've been preaching the gospel of ease of doing business. We've had a one-stop shop for exporters. I want to get commodities out of the country. And you've been in this business, you're known for this export business, especially when it comes to agricultural produce. Share with us some of your experience and realities at this time.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a bit different from what it used to be, because you now have the custom doing very well, the MPA doing very well, but we have other issues that are not related to the problems of the agencies or the ease of doing business office in Abuja. We have a problem of how to get to the port, which is a very critical part of the business. We have the climate change. We have the issue of backward integration. We have the problem of adding value to what we produce. We cannot continue to be exporters of primary products forever. This is at the point where Nigeria needs to stand up and look at, say, we need to change the narratives. Nigeria, as big as we are, our population is increasing. Land is not giving birth to children. People must eat. There's food insecurity because decades of neglect has taken us to where we are today. And we cannot continue to assume that it's going to get better without doing something about it. I think it's getting more difficult than what it used to be.
Unfortunately, but I mean, I note you said that the agencies and all of that has improved. We are now looking for how to add value and all of that. But what's stopping this process? Because I know there are some incentives that are available to exporters that are supposed to encourage backward integration, development of the value chain, especially of these crops. But so what are the hurdles that have stopped this from being reality?
Well, there are so many factors. And I will start with the incentives. Which incentives are we talking about? The government stopped paying incentives to exporters since 2022, I think 2021. So many people have backlog of those incentives that were not paid, and also discouraging new entrants into the business because it is not the government is not consistent with the policies of incentivizing the exporters. I'm very sure there are double taxation or triple or quadruple. In fact, I don't know what to say about the taxation in Nigeria. You have the agencies collecting money from exporters, almost about 13 to 20 of them, doing overlapping job and collecting money. I was talking at a forum yesterday where you have the quarantine doing issuing certificate for fumigation and collecting money, and FBI is the one that will do the fumigation and they will also collect money. It's just an example. You have all the agencies at the port not doing, they don't have a scanner. All of them will be there to do physical inspection. So there is no incentive to exporters. We are paying taxes. Next, we are paying. I know my company has paid more than 3 billion or 4 billion naira this year, just in 9 months, as export tax, and I will pay income tax. I will pay all these agencies. At the end of the day, there is no incentive. Express expansion grant was stopped in 2021. Up to today, government has not revisited it. So these inconsistencies make it so difficult for people to plan and what next to do. So, and coupled with all the infrastructural deficiencies we have, no electricity, you have to generate your own power. The roads are not good. You have, in Lagos State, especially on your road to Apapa port, expect recently when you have custom and NPA, they try to dismantle the political talks that on the road. You have 35 roadblocks between Mile 2 and Apapa port. All of them collecting 5,000 naira per container to move. So how does it work? So the cost of doing business in Nigeria is too expensive, difficult. Yes, the office of doing business are trying. When you complain to them, they will try to help you. But they don't have the political leverage on Lagos State to stop their political appointees or political talks on the road. Then you have the regulators like the Shippers Council. They've been established since 1976. They are just toothless bulldog. When you have a problem with any shipping line or terminal operators, they can only encourage them and beg them. They don't have the legal backing, constitutional backing to put sanctions. So it makes a lot of things difficult for exporters in Nigeria.
Yeah, I mean, those realities you have said, obviously, I mean, paying more than 13 taxes and plus the non-political actors also still collecting some of those monies on the road. But I don't know if you've been following the proposed reforms by the Taiwo Oyedele Committee. Do you hear some of these issues being captured in the proposed reforms, which we hope to be implemented from next year?
Well, I'm sure you are also a Nigerian, and you understand that everybody has lost confidence and trust in government. That is the fact. Because, you see, when government promises something and it doesn't happen, then there will be, and because of this impunity, nobody gets punished for whatever infraction, and you are not even sure that the government is going to do whatever they promise. Then it becomes a bit problematic. For Starlink, we do businesses outside Nigeria. And in West African countries, Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau, in Senegal, in Gambia, we find that these are small countries. The people there are very lazy. They are not as hard working as Nigerians. But they have processes and procedures. You can plan. Because planning is difficult. It's the most difficult thing to do in Nigeria. You can't plan your export. You are not sure when one agency will say, we need to stop your container. But in those countries, they will tell you when to bring your container. The port authority is functional. The custom is doing better. And anyway, Nigerian custom has improved. But what about all other agencies? They need to take a step forward by putting their scanner. And we need to appeal to Lagos State government. There are these political talk that has helped them to win election. They don't need to give them, they cannot be rent takers on the road. It's becoming more difficult. If we don't, I have 93 trailers. None of them have side mirrors again. Because these people, if you don't give them the 5,000, they will break your side mirror. So you buy it again, then they will break it. So it's also an asset on the road. So I don't know whether the government this time around is going to do what they promised. But genuinely, so many people have lost confidence and their trust.
But Mr. Adeyemi, I know that you do have conversations with, for instance, in Lagos State, you do speak to the people in power. Have you brought up this conversation, especially the issue of thugs on the road? Because, I mean, these are common sights.
Yeah, let me just give you an example. The present representative of Mushin is a member of House of Rep now. He was formerly the special advisor to Governor of Lagos State on transport, Honorable Fanyinka. This guy really did a lot of work. At one point, me and him, they arrested some guys on the road to Apapa, handed them over to the police. And the police released them the second day on the order from above. Then you have the issue we have is even we have the agencies, Air Force, police, and all other agencies like that. They use these civilians to collect the money. They won't be on the road, but they use them. There are those people behind them. You have the police monitoring team that always be behind. They will use those thugs to rake in the money, and when we find out that there's nothing anybody can do about them, as at that level of a special advisor to governor on transport, could not do anything. So until the guy left and became the member of House of Rep, and that is it. We don't know what to do again. We complained to MPA. MPA took this thing to the office of the governor of Lagos State. Up to today, we don't have a reply. So it is, I think they need to, what they prioritize is the political patronage of those thugs than the economic development of the country.
Well, that's unfortunate, but I'll promise you that we're going to, try and follow up. I mean, we're in Lagos State, and I do believe that the governor has a listening ear. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, he listens. So we will reach out to his representatives and try to get this message across and get some reaction from them. But I mean, we have just a little bit of time, but it's also important to talk about the value adding, instead of exporters selling out primary commodities. Shouldn't that be job and employment and investment for the private sector instead of putting it on the table of the government again?
God will bless you so much. It's one of the things I told the bankers yesterday, that the bankers should understand that this country belongs to all of us. If it sinks, all of us will sink. This is the right time for us to do value addition. Let me just give you a statistics. West Africa produces about 70% of cocoa in the world. The combined income of all of us, 70%, was 11 billion naira in 2022. The combined profit of chocolate makers was $164 billion. I mean, $11 billion in 2022. And the combined profit of all the chocolate manufacturers in the world, statistics you can check, was 164 billion, because they are adding value. There are so many opportunities in this country. How do you explain where, in a situation whereby we produce cocoa in Africa, in West Africa, but we sell them in Europe? Why can't we have a structure that will create warehouses, keep this cocoa here? Cocoa cannot get bad for a period of 1 year if they are kept properly. Then it will even also prevent gluttony in Europe, and it will also help value addition. If we do that one, Ivory Coast is producing, is grinding about 13% of the cocoa today. Nigeria doesn't even have up to 10% of our production. Our production is too low. 233 million people will produce only about 253,000 tons. Ivory Coast, with 31 or 32 million people, they produce about 2.3 million tons. So we need to change the narrative, change the direction we are going. We have 60% of youths, and they are not engaged. Definitely, they will have to look for something. That's why you see a lot of crime going up. We don't have any business with poverty in Nigeria. Every side of every part of Nigeria can do very well in agricultural commodities. Jigawa State, Kano State, Kogi, they produce sesame seed, ginger, all these commodities are banned in this country. But the government has abandoned it, and they are not looking at this backward integration, future, and the forward integration. Until we start to do that, we are not likely to know, our economy is not going to grow.
So I guess
it is compulsory that we should start to look at backward integration, because for industrial development, you need the raw materials. We cannot be importing raw materials. Then for forward integration, we need the basic necessities like power, which is very important. Governments need to be consistent in whatever they promise. Export expansion grant, you just don't take money from people and you are not giving them what you promised. It is discouraging so many other foreigners from starting a business in Nigeria. And we cannot be shipping our job to all other countries by only exporting primary products.
All right, Mr. Denjin. So I guess what you're trying to say is the government has the responsibility to make the environment friendly enough for the investors or private sector to operate. But thank you so much. We're out of time, but thank you so much. And we do promise to reach out to the Lagos State government on, the issue you have raised, which is about the thugs on the road. I know it's not new, but I mean, as you said, we'll continue trying and working on that. So thank you so much, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Starling Global and Ideal Limited, Mr. Adeyemi Adeniji, for your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.